Hello.
And welcome to Makers.dev, episode number 105. Chris, did you know that 105 is a counting number? I didn't look up a fact.
You pulled this trick last time.
How's it going? How are you?
It's all right. I am sick. You might hear it in my voice. My kids are sick. It is no fun being sick. Hopefully that goes away. And that's how it's going. How are you doing?
I am getting over being sick. I feel a lot of sympathy towards you for being sick. Just everything gets worse. It's not just that you're sick. It's like that you're tired and then you can't do the things that you thought you were going to do and you feel bad. And for me, it was this really bad cough and I was just hacking up phlegm for days. It was bad. Sarah introduced me to NyQuil. I'd never had NyQuil before. That stuff's great. That's some good stuff. And it tastes kind of minty. It's like being able to drink Listerine. It was nice.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you're not supposed to have it too much or something, but that was great.
Probably not. Yeah. I took Tylenol PM one night and that gives me wild dreams. I took Sudafed and Sudafed never used to affect me, but then I took it and I could not sleep. And that happens to my wife. Like, it causes excitability. It's like a known thing. But like, I just could not go to sleep for like hours. So that was miserable. So I didn't take that again at night. But yeah, otherwise.
I'm reminded of a fun fact I learned. It may be Sudafed. It may be Sudafed or NyQuil, where Mormon kids, if they live in Utah where they can't get alcohol or any other drugs, will have NyQuil parties.
NyQuil. Yeah.
Yeah. But then you just get sleepy. Yeah, but I guess I've never had it not being sick. I've never had it other than like 2 nights ago. So
yeah,
I thought that was funny.
This is not advice. Don't do this.
Yeah, don't do this.
Anti-advice.
Even if you're Mormon.
Yeah.
How are your projects going? How's the advanced linear algebra class?
Yes.
Teach me some advanced linear algebra. What'd you learn?
Well, we talked about non-singular matrices last time. I can talk about orthogonal matrices this time if you want. Yeah, sure. No, I won't subject you to that. But
no, I actually okay, it's fine.
What I've been doing is I realized, like, so it's been a long time since I did linear algebra, and so a lot of my confusion was sort of a misunderstanding of some of the basics. And I was like, oh yeah, I know about this, and then I would go do the proofs, and I didn't actually understand some of the stuff. So what I've been doing is expanding on what we talked about last time, which is teaching to learn. I'm not actually teaching anybody, but I'm designing this whole course, and I've written it out. Like, what would I teach myself if I needed to learn the 4 chapters that we did? So I started with basic vocab, and how to do basic things like dot product and matrix multiplication, which is something I'm like, oh yeah, I know how to do that. But I sat down to do it and I was like, and I had to remind myself by looking on the internet how to do it. And so even the very basic stuff, I have relearned, so that's good. And I went all the way through. I'm now through types of matrices, and I'm now through basically all the vocab. And so now I'm ready to go into actually the processes and like the theorems and stuff that we were learning. So, and that's been super, super helpful. Actually writing something down and then saying, how would I teach this? And then realizing you don't know, and then learning enough so that you could teach it, has been very, very helpful. So I have 2 more weeks before the test. And that's what I'm going to do until then.
I love that. That's the Feynman method we talked about last time. What's the format that you're writing it down? Is this on pen and paper or is this on...
Yep, paper. Let's see.
Okay.
For our watching viewers, this is, for example, notation, flame notation for matrices.
Cool.
Which is, and then operators, transpose, Hermitian, dot product, the zero matrix, identity matrix, all this lovely stuff.
Love it.
Permutation matrices, which are actually really cool. That's the first thing in this class where I was like, oh, that's actually pretty neat. You can swap rows and columns of matrices really easily, and that's how you can like solve several problems. And that was the first thing in this class that I found actually very interesting. So
that's a permutation matrix?
Yeah. So the identity matrix is ones along the diagonal, and if you multiply that by any matrix, then you just get the matrix out. It's like you didn't do anything. Okay. A permutation matrix is you swap the rows or columns of the permutation matrix, and that will swap the rows or columns of the matrix you multiply it by, depending on which side you multiply it by.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so it permutes the rows or the columns.
Okay. It's a matrix that I can multiply another matrix by, and the result of that will be the original matrix with the rows swapped in some way.
Yep.
Cool.
Or the columns swapped. Yeah. And so there's actually a number of situations where that is useful. And so I was like, I sort of discovered that, and I was like, neat. Yeah. And so
is that like one matrix that you can multiply any other matrix by, or does that matrix that you're multiplying by depend on what the original matrix is?
Like
it's just
one
identity
zeros.
matrix is always just ones across the diagonal.
Yeah.
What's the permutation?
Exactly.
matrix?
So it has to be the same size. It's a square matrix that's the same size as the one you're multiplying by.
Okay. And it's always the same no matter what the matrix is that you're swapping.
Yeah, but adjusted for size. But yeah.
Right. But there's like I can't wrap my head around how you could multiply a matrix and have the rows swapped.
Yes, that's why I had to reteach myself matrix multiplication, because once you relearn matrix multiplication and then you see a permutation matrix, you're like, yes, of course it does it this way, because there's a 1 in this spot, so of course that row is going to be in this spot, because that's how matrix multiplication works, and that's something I didn't understand before yesterday. So
interesting. Yeah. Is it like ones up and down? How?
There's just one in every row in every column.
Okay. Oh,
so
and depending on where you put it, that's determining where the swap's going to happen.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I don't understand it enough to actually do it, but
sure. Yeah.
It's not magic anymore. Okay. Yeah, I love that. Do you have a, like we've talked about a few times, having a blog of this stuff, or maybe doing a class, or in this moment I'm curious about if this could turn into like an egghead course. It's a little more mathy than usual egghead stuff, but if it had more of a, like if the linear algebra part was part of a module in some sort of a bigger machine learning thing, I could see that fitting. Are you entertaining any dreams of that sort of thing?
Yeah, like it couldn't go on Egghead because Egghead is strictly programming, but I've thought about, basically recording me saying this stuff as I write it down and then uploading it to YouTube, which is the only place I have that, I could put whatever I want. I thought about that, but that would also really slow me down. So I would learn more, but just writing it down once is probably enough for me to learn enough for the test. And so while I would learn it better if I did that, I would probably be too far behind, because I still have I've gone through 2 different sections. I still have 6 or 8 to go. So yeah.
I can see that. I'm going to push one more time. What if it was super, super low effort? Like you have the overhead cam already set up, you have the camera on you, and it's going to be an hour-long live stream, and it's just whatever the work you were going to do already in writing it down, but you're just talking out loud while you're doing it.
Yes, I have thought about that.
Okay.
We talked just before this about how my life is very busy.
For sure. For sure.
And I've decided that's something I'm not going to do, and you're trying to make me do it. No, yeah. I thought about that, but I just got too much going on.
Okay. That's fair. Talking about too much going on, how's the football tracking thing? Oh, did you get I sent you a video of a special soccer ball they used in the World Cup or FIFA or something. Is that the sort of thing that's going on in football, that they have trackers in the football, or is it all visual based?
Yes, but they don't have it in the football. They have it in the pads. Yeah.
Okay.
So they don't actually have it in soccer. They're putting it in the ball. In football, they're putting it in the players' pads.
That's really interesting. In every pad on every player?
No, in the shoulder pads. So I don't know if they're in both shoulder pads or just one or whatever, but yeah.
Okay. That's really cool. Cool. How's that going?
I am 32nd place out of 600, so top 5%.
That's fantastic.
And so doing pretty well. But as we were just talking about, I have a lot going on, and so if I have to drop something, that is what I will drop, because that is the least, deadline and job driven.
Right.
So there's still a month left in that competition, so I still maybe could have enough time to do something interesting, but I'm also not diving crazy deep into it. Like I have other competitions, because I just don't have the time right now. So, but yeah, doing pretty well for just sort of working on it.
Yeah, top 5%. That's really good. You need top 1% for gold?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, that's tantalizing.
I know.
That's the last one you need. I would personally give up being sick out of all the things you're currently doing. I don't know.
Oh, well, sure. They talk to my body, I guess.
Okay.
I think I get snarkier when I'm sick. I don't know. I feel I don't know. I feel weird. Yeah.
Any breakthroughs you can talk about from the NFL competition? What led you to be able to get aside?
Nothing too interesting except that I purposely didn't look at the public, the public code yet, and so I still have that. And so I just recently started looking at that. They do things slightly differently than I do, and I think with some work I can ensemble that with mine to get even better. So probably not top 1%, but I bet I could get to 20th place or maybe 15th place just by sort of incorporating the public code.
And you said this one had a huge cash prize.
It does, which means
it's difficult to
it's going to attract a lot of people, and it's going to be hard to team up, because the top prize is $50K, which is significant.
Yeah. Okay. Excuse me.
I can hear that you're sick. Yeah.
Oh, that's awful too, because I'm just going to be coughing for the rest of the episode. I inhaled a little bit of saliva. That's going to haunt me. Okay, that makes sense, because I think the ideal competition for you to get gold would look like something that doesn't have a really huge prize that you can team up with. You don't need another individual gold.
And there's actually there actually is one right now. So I've actually thought about switching to this one. It's did we talk about this? They're detecting neutrinos. I don't think we did. So the scientific based, like research based competitions they have lower prizes because there's, as you can imagine, not as much money in them, and they also are often more interesting to work on because you get like the gravity waves one. Now I know all about gravity waves, so it's pretty cool. There's one now about neutrinos. So it's actually super cool. They drill holes in the ice in Antarctica, and the ice is super, super clear. It is clearer than seawater, and then they drop these things like 1,500 meters, I think, like a kilometer and a half down into the ice, and they have an array of them, and they can detect the light that gets emitted when a neutrino hits matter, so it hits the ice, I think. And they detect it through this super clear ice. And so what you get is like this cascading sort of waterfall of detections, and then you can see which direction the neutrino was coming in. And so, but there's a lot of noise, as you might imagine, just like the gravity wave competition. And so the idea is to have a better way to detect neutrinos in this kind of noisy cascade of detections. Anyway, so that one sounds super cool. And it has a lower prize, which means I can probably team up with somebody.
I have a personal connection to this. This is kind of cool. At SMU, my physics professor named Judy something, I'll look it up. I forgot her name, but she was working on this, and at the time the experiment they were doing was in really deep mines, and they would have some sort of really dense, really pure liquid that they would put in the bottom of a mine. So you put it at the bottom of the mine to remove all the noise from all the other stuff. And then you're effectively looking for the same sort of cascading thing of a neutrino hitting something in this fluid. But it was really expensive and took a really long time, and the volume of the fluid was just as much of that fluid as you could get. So I love this adaptation of just use this existing stuff that is already a whole bunch of this really clear ice that you can use to detect it. That sounds like the same experiment, but they figured out a better way to do it. That's really cool.
Yep. Yeah. So, that one still has 3 months to go because it basically just launched. Okay. So we'll see. Yep.
Yeah, also seems like it would be very similar to your gravity wave one. Yeah. Maybe you could even assemble the same team as you were working on last time.
Potentially, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't feel so bad about letting go of the NFL one then, because I think from the beginning that was disadvantageous.
Yeah, I think so. So I'll probably try at least ensembling with a public notebook, but I'm not gonna go crazy.
Okay, we're gonna get you that Grandmaster. I gotta say that I'm a podcast co-host with a Grandmaster on Kaggle. I need that for my ego.
Oh man, yeah. Yeah, and I'm still working. So that is the other thing that I'm doing, which is not, it's not crazy stressful or anything. It's just it's work. So gotta do it. So those are all the things I am doing.
It's a lot of things.
Yeah.
Cool.
How about you? You had a cool week.
So last episode, I said that I had cut myself some slack because I just come off of some vacation and being sick. And in that episode, I was saying, all right, now I'm ready to hit the grindstone again. Here we go. And I didn't do anything all of last week. And I was so I did not do anything. Like the number of palms that I did towards the video clipper were like under 3. And every day I woke up with this intention of, okay, here we go. I'm going to get back on it and I'm going to restart it. And it just wasn't happening. And I felt so many different feelings and was so frustrated in myself and was playing all these games of like, well, maybe I shouldn't even be doing this at all. Maybe I should do this. And I was like, no, what are you talking about? You already wrote the emails. Like, who cares? And then I was thinking, well, I have this new idea for automatically importing the YouTube channel. So surely I should do that before launching. And no, you shouldn't. Just do it. And it was just these perpetual, like, going back and forth every single day. And my gosh, it was so frustrating. And I've been through this so many times that I feel like I've fallen in this hole and crawled out so many times that it's become muscle memory of like, okay, I'm a little deeper in the hole than I thought I was. I was even aware of it when we talked about it on the last episode. I thought I was out of the hole and I wasn't out of the hole yet. So every day I just said, okay, let's just do a little bit more. I know what my daily routine needs to be, so let's just get a little closer to that. Make sure that I, after I wake up, I have one job, and that job is I need to go outside. So that's the only thing. I'm going to be distracted and I'm not going to want to do it, but that's the one thing I got to do. I got to go outside, and to go outside, I got to get my shoes on, and okay, what are the things between me and outside? And then, okay, now I'm outside. I got to walk around the block. And then once I get back in, I've got one job, and that one job is I got to meditate. And then, okay, there's nothing else. I just got to meditate. And then, okay, I've meditated. Now my one job is I got to set my schedule for the day. Okay, I've set my schedule for the day. Now I have the schedule, and now I feel good because I've walked and I've meditated. And now I walk through it. But my gosh, to get there, it took 4 days of just incremental improvements and getting sidetracked on the first step of like, I've got my shoes on and my jacket on, but I'm just messing around on my phone for an hour, Chris. It was so frustrating.
Yeah.
And, but we got there. And yesterday I finally had like a reasonable day where I did, I think 6 palms of work, which is like double what I did all of last week. So I'm already ahead for the week, and that feels good. Process through a lot of feelings of, I think I feel afraid. I think I feel afraid of launching the video clipper. I think I'm fearful of like that I'm gonna feel disappointed by. I don't even know what my expectations are for this. Like, I think part of me is entertaining this fantasy of, oh, it's gonna be just as big of a success just as quickly as File Inbox was, and that was like $300 of MRR per day for the first month, and it got to 8K in like 3 months, and like that's not gonna happen, and that's okay. But part of me is entertaining that. I'm like, ooh, but what if that did happen? Let me play this little fantasy of like, ooh, how would I live my life differently if that was happening? But it's going to be different, and that's okay. I think File Inbox was. I think I got extremely lucky in a few in areas that like I was underdeveloped in of marketing, and so this is me getting my little baby legs under me of figuring out marketing, like doing a marketing launch, figuring out what the marketing channels are. I think I'm in an incredibly good position, and if I project out, like if I consistently work on this every day for 2 years, I think I'm gonna be in a really good spot. But yeah, it's a lot of feelings to process through, and like the anxiety and fear about launching combined with this malaise in just getting any sort of work done led to a very frustrating week, and I feel like I finally pushed through it yesterday. And so I told you last week it was going to launch on Wednesday, and instead it's going to launch on Wednesday of this week. And I've already sent out a tweet. I've already sent out an email. And we're launching tomorrow. It's going to happen. So that's the biggest thing. And I think I just like your help understanding my feelings. It was a lot of feelings I felt. I didn't like them. What are your thoughts on that whole situation?
Well, so when you said you're going to launch Wednesday, I thought you meant this Wednesday anyway. And so from the outside perspective, I was like, I saw your launch tweet yesterday, or your pre-launch tweet, and I was like, all right, he's on track.
I could have gotten away with it. Oh, okay.
So for what it's worth, I thought you were still on track. First of all, it's great that you're going to launch tomorrow. That's awesome. I think you should, celebrate the wins when they come. So that's good.
Yeah.
I totally feel like the feelings that you were feeling, I feel them too all the time. Like, I don't know. I think that's, I guess, part of being human. Like, you got to figure out how to get over times when you feel like that, because they're going to happen. I don't think I have very good advice. Talk about it. So this podcast is probably helpful. And that's what spouses are for too, or partners. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I have very good advice other than keep doing the stuff, and eventually, yeah, that's all I got.
Sarah's been helpful to talk to in this process too. Yeah, the more I go through this, the more tools I feel like I'm able to latch onto. Like, these sorts of feelings used to just totally sweep me away, and I would be onto something else because it was less scary to think about. And like at this stage of another project, I would have just started a whole new project and been able to hide in developing that project. But yeah, no, I'm gonna face this, and having been here so many times, I know that I can safely ignore these feelings of fear that I'm feeling, and when I don't want to, I can hold on to this mantra of just do it badly. And like, there were so many moments, even in just like queuing up the tweets and queuing up the emails, where I was thinking, oh no, how much better would this be if there was a GIF here of how to use the product, and like, I don't trust myself enough to do that. Like, after delaying for a week and a half, like, no, I just need to do it. And yes, I agree, having a nice GIF in this place would make it much better. But you know what is going to be way better than doing nothing is going to be doing something. So let's just get this out the door. You don't only launch once. Like, that's something I learned from Amy Hoy and Alex Hillman. You can have as many launches as you want. I get to have another launch when I launch on like Product Hunt, and I can launch on different platforms. I can do a smaller marketing launch on like Reddit or Hacker News or something. Like, there's an infinite number. Every feature I have is potentially another new launch. It's just about like doing it more times, and having walked through that, I feel like I have the tools I need to know how to do it, and like, I know the mantras to be holding on to. Just do it badly, just keep pushing forward. But oh my gosh, it is frustrating. A little birdie told me that you already have a customer, which means you already are launched. Yeah.
So even if no one signs up tomorrow, you already have a customer.
So I had someone accidentally sign up like a month ago, and I was like, oh, hold on, no, like, that doesn't make any sense. Don't do that yet. Yeah. So yeah, the first dollars have already come in. But then yesterday, I had a conversation with somebody, and I need to double check with people if I can like talk about it on the podcast. But it was a person who both of us know, and someone had recommended them to me on Twitter because they were saying that they were looking to hire someone to do this. And someone else responded to them like, hey, Christian's working on a thing to solve the problem. Maybe you want to talk to him first. And it was the easiest conversation I've ever had. Of like, we caught up a little bit. We're like, microconf. And then he was like, yeah, so I have this problem. And I was like, that's exactly the problem I'm solving. And he was saying that his alternative to that was paying a freelancer on Fiverr. They quoted him $200 an episode to make clips out of it.
Wow.
To do one. Yeah. Wow. And I was like, oh yeah, this is something that someone from your team can spend whatever, half an hour a week on, and you can get about the same output. And he was like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I told him I was launching. Say it again.
Can you get that in a quote for your launch day? Like,
oh yeah. I'll double check with him that I can quote him on that. Yeah. That'd be good. And he was like, oh yeah, that makes total sense. And I was like, okay, I would send you a link, but you already have an account, so just click the billing tab and sign up for the business account and use this code that I'm gonna send out to people in 2 days, and you get 50% off. And he was like, great. And I was like, okay, bye. That's awesome. Like, bye. Yeah. And then he signed up like 10 minutes later. So that felt really good. And like, I felt so energized at the end of that, because it's validation in the market that he has this problem, and I'm building the correct thing for the problem that he has. And he validated that it actually is a problem enough to spend the money. And I agree with him that makes a lot of sense for him, because his alternative is spending $300 a month. And like, yes, of course. So this is a much harder emotional game than I was previously aware of. I was previously feeling all these feelings, but then I couldn't label them, and then I would come up with some crazy explanation of why I felt the feelings I was feeling, that I should be working on this other thing instead. So it's very nice that I'm aware of the feelings, but my gosh, it's like launching things and putting things out in the world is a difficult game. And I feel like I know the things I need to be doing to to continue playing this game well, and it's just putting in the time, focusing instead of outcome, just focusing on like the input of the work that I'm putting into it. But so that's where I've been for the last week.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. You got to play the mental games. I don't have much to add. I mean, I was in the same spot last week with like, I almost wanted to quit linear algebra, and now I'm like, maybe I can do it. So you just got to keep going.
Yeah, just gotta keep putting in the time. I would also love your feedback on this. It's been incredibly helpful for me just to talk through my next few steps with all these products. I think you help give me a lot of clarity in what the next things to do are. I think the next thing is, so like I'm launching tomorrow. There's going to be some number of people to sign up. It will be a counting number. It might be 0, and that's fine. That's okay. I will learn information from the process.
We learned last week that the counting numbers include 0.
That's right. It won't be a negative number of people. Oh, unless the person I just signed up churns. They can churn.
He won't churn one day.
So the situation I'm in now is there's like a dozen things I could be working on to improve this. A big category of those things is automatically publishing. I think I'm going to table that for right now and just really focus on the clipping thing and the importing thing. I think the most important thing for me to be working on right now is this feature we talked about last week of automatically importing videos that people are publishing to a YouTube channel, because I think that's going to make the product much stickier. That's going to make it much easier for people to like, now I'm just in their workflow if they sign up, as opposed to if they have to manually upload every video. That's like a whole extra part of the process. So I think that's the most important thing for me to be working on, like really nailing the interface of, okay, when you sign up, you paste in your channel URL or a YouTube video, and now I know what your channel URL is, and now I'm going to automatically I'm not going to download all your videos at first, but I am going to import all your videos so that I have a record of them. And then as soon as you try to export your first clip from one of those videos, now I actually download the video, and then I actually render the clip. And then after the initial import, anytime you publish a new video, I want to send you an email that says, hey, your new video that you just published is ready to clip. And eventually I'd like some way that like I can personally be going in and making clips of people's videos to make the product even stickier. Do you have any objections to that being like the next thing that I'm working on? Is there something else that would be better to work on than that?
So I definitely like that as a feature. I like that as for stickiness and stuff. My guess is that launching will give you a whole other list of things to work on. So maybe, and if it doesn't, maybe your thing should be reaching out to people and seeing what your thing to work on should be. Like, it seems like your job right now is to get anyone to sign up and start using it. And if they don't even use it once, it doesn't matter if you send them, like things to keep them using it because they're not using it. So I do like that feature, but maybe I would focus on getting people to use it on the launch day. Yeah.
Okay, I like that framing that my main job is like getting people to use it. What might that look like? So I have something like 80 people that have signed up for an account during this whole process of like sort of having beta access to it.
That's a bunch.
Yeah, it is a bunch, isn't it? I was surprised when I exported the list. Let me get you an exact number.
I would see if anyone actually does anything, and if they do, maybe reach out to them and say, if you know any of them, like that would be an easy, say how was your experience? What do you want to do that it didn't do? All of that, customer development kind of stuff. Although that's not how you're supposed to do it, right? Do it however you want. So maybe I would focus on reaching out to those people first.
Okay, and have ideally have like video calls with them, but I can send out like
Yeah.
an automated first email or a sequence of emails just saying,
Yeah.
hey, what feedback do you have for me? And how can I help you do this? And then, okay. I think the thing that I would like to become obsessed about is like, are they making clips?
Yeah.
And ideally, are they publishing clips? And ideally, are they getting traffic from their published clips? Because that's like the success that I'm going after. But I think I can just focus. It's very easy for me to measure like the number of clips that they've made and exported.
Yeah.
So I think I want to become fanatical about that number, and I want to try to get that number as high as possible. Are they making clips and downloading them? And that might look like a dashboard of like all of my users sorted by the number of clips that they've exported. And then, especially for people that have just paid me money, I want to really fanatically go after them of like, hey, you paid me money, but you haven't exported any clips yet. What's going on? How can I really want you to be getting value from this product? Of like,
Right.
what are the things between you publishing clips? And yes, that like right now it seems pretty obvious that would be that they have to go through all this work of uploading the video, but that's, and I think that would make it easier for them to export clips. But in talking to them, it might be something totally different. It might be like, oh, I just wasn't sure how to change the font to match my branding, and I've been
I did pink and sideways.
Right.
I can make it pink and sideways. Yeah.
So, yeah, then from those conversations, I can be, as long as I'm fanatic about, I want more people to be making more clips. If I'm just laser focused on that, whatever the objections are, whatever the difficulty is, as long as I'm having conversations with people and trying to really figure out like what would be helping you to be making more clips, that's going to lead me to what to work on next. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'd focus on. I would also remember that you're having a launch day, but you can also think about it like a launch week. So email people on Thursday, and again on Friday, and again on the weekend, and then on Monday say, I know it was the weekend, and a lot of people don't check their email on the weekend, so you can sign up today and still get your 50% off.
Yeah.
That's a trick that Egghead does. I don't know if it works for them or not, but it seems like it should. Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. Oh man, I used to get so in my head too about like, but I don't want to send people emails if they've already signed up for it. So I need some sort of a complicated system to track if they already have an account and they've already signed up for it, that they're not
just export your list every time.
Yeah, just send it the whole list. Like it doesn't matter. Like,
I was gonna say, I mean, just log into Firebase and run a query and be like, who's on the list that hasn't signed up yet? You can do that, right? And then just get a CSV every time.
Yes, I agree that would be an improvement, but I don't want trying to perfect that system to get in the way of just sending more emails. Like the downside of sending more emails is that people who have already signed up for this thing are getting an extra email, and I can just include a sentence of like, hey, if you've already signed up, don't do it. Or like, thank you for signing up, or if you have any friends who want to do this, you could forward it to them or something.
I like that. Yeah. Or here, tweet about it. And whatever.
Yeah. And then I can still be having like the personal interactions with people. Okay. All right. I'm fanatical about the number of clips being exported. So I think then the most important thing for me to work on is seeing that number. I want to be able to see I think just a table of like, for each user, are they paying me money? If so, how much money are they paying me? And how many clips have they exported? And have a button that I can really easily send them an email or something.
Also, like, don't spend much time on that. I think your focus should be on launching. So, like, yes, that's part of it, but that's probably a palm, right, of work.
Yeah.
Don't add filtering, don't add searching, don't add pagination. Whatever.
Yes. Yeah, very, very inefficient. What should I be thinking about in terms of the launch? Like I've got a series of emails queued up. One of them was supposed to go out yesterday evening, but I actually sent it to go out this evening.
Okay.
So the first email and the second email are getting sent out of order, but I think that's fine. And then I'll have one that gets sent out tomorrow that says like, hey, here's the code to get 50% off. It's good for the next 24 hours. And then I have another email that gets sent out like 30 hours after that says, hey, the time is technically over, but you still have some more time if you want to.
Yep.
And then I have tweets also that are saying the same sorts of things. What else would you be doing?
That sounds great.
Okay.
And remember, even if no one signs up, you already have a customer. But if even just a couple people sign up, then next time you launch, because you will launch again, this is like your early access beta launch. So next time can be your regular beta launch. And then after that can be your early access actual launch. And then after that, yes, exactly. And each time build like this, if you get testimonials or quotes or something from customers, I would focus on that too. So building relationships with people who use it early, get testimonials, include those. And like, even if it goes horrible, you have at least 3 more launches that I just named that are very easy to do before you even add any more features. So,
Yeah, that's good. Okay. Yeah, because launches will only get stronger if I'm learning from them in every conversation I have. Yeah, like quotes like the quote of, instead of hiring someone for $300 per episode on Fiverr, you can just have this and have someone from your team, or you do it for a couple of minutes every week, and you're gonna get the same output or better, because you know your content better than someone on Fiverr. Someone from your team knows your content better than someone on Fiverr. Yeah. Okay. All right. I still feel scared, but I'm still gonna do it. I don't know. I feel brave.
Do it badly.
Yes. I'm doing it badly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's the main thing I wanted to talk about. Oh, there's a lot of other potential places I could launch also, of like, I have this group of people in the Part-Time YouTuber Academy by Ali Abdal, and I can be launching in their group and say, here's your own special coupon code. And I don't think I want to do that at the same time. I think I want to do this one first and put out fires and figure out, oh shoot, like here's this feature that everyone needs that is this obvious way that people can be
or sign up is broken, something. Right.
Yeah, like that would be a problem.
Right.
Okay.
I would just do what you already have focused on, and then like all these other little places, like just treat them as their own launches when they happen. Okay. That's what I would do.
Okay. Cool. Feelings. This is hard. And then there's so much other marketing stuff I can be doing. Like, I have this list of blog posts that I can write that came out of all this keyword research from going through this program at SEMrush. And I have a whole process of how I'm going to write those. I'm going to run it through GPT-3 first, and then SEMrush has this tool that can analyze posts for the keywords you want to rank for, and it can recommend adding keywords or structuring the content in a different way. And then there's all these technical things to be working on, of like the automatic YouTube channel imports and fonts, being able to pick a font. Right now I can do it in the back end, but people can't do when they're trying to edit their tweets. It's just a lot of work. launching a product. There's a lot of stuff involved.
Yep. I wanted to pull on one thing, which is you mentioned GPT and blog posts in the same sentence. How are you going to use ChatGPT or GPT-3 in blog posts?
I think what I'm going to do is use it as a way to generate a first bad draft, because I've been reading a lot about how they're doing watermarking and how eventually Google's going to demote things for doing that. But then I've seen Sam Altman talk about how it's this cat and mouse game that people can't rely on. Like, there's stuff that they can do in the interim, but then there's going to be ways around it. One of the ways around it that I think would work, after reading about how the watermarking is working, is if you take the first draft, translate it to Chinese or Greek or something, and then translate it back to English, that would probably remove the watermark. But I probably to just totally subvert that, I'm just going to use it to generate ideas. Like, it's not generating the main content, but I'll say, write an outline for the main items that should be included in this article. And then it'll generate an outline, and I'll say, wow, that's amazing. GPT is incredible. And then I'll read it and be like, oh, actually, no, that's dumb. It should be this thing. And then I'll just end up writing the article myself. But like, I'm going to use it as a tool to just push me forward. That, like, at any point, if I feel stuck, I'll use it to get me unstuck by doing a bad version of the thing I'm trying to do.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to recommend, is don't even think about it like a first draft. Think about it like a bad first outline. Because I saw a tweet today that someone talked about how someone was using AI to generate content. And I think this is before the watermarking stuff. And something happened on some date, and you could see their plot just plummets. So
Interesting.
Google is already figuring out how to detect AI generated content.
Yeah.
Even without
That's very
watermarking.
interesting. I wonder if another way that you could potentially do this is if if OpenAI just keeps a record of all of the text that it's ever generated, and then
but that would
then
only
you're just
work
looking
on
for similarities. Like when Google's trying to rank for pages, first they look in the database of all the stuff OpenAI's ever generated and see if there's a match.
So that would be a ton of data. I mean, I guess they're already storing a ton of data. And Microsoft now owns like 49% or something of OpenAI. So they're not going to share with Google.
Yeah.
They're going to do it for Bing.
Google's also an investor, though, no? Google's also invested in OpenAI?
I don't know. Microsoft is the one that invested $1 billion and then 29 more billion or something like that. Maybe it was 19 more or something. But
yeah, that's right. But it's structured interestingly that also OpenAI has to spend a certain number of credits with Azure.
Yeah, it's something. Yes, something like that. Yeah.
Good deal.
They're also a limited profit company that can only return 100 times their capital investment. So Microsoft can only get 29 billion times 100 back. Poor Microsoft.
Oh no, poor Microsoft. Why would you? What's the point of that? Why?
Well, it's because they started as OpenAI and they were going to be like this nonprofit kind of thing, and then Sam Altman realized you can't raise money for a nonprofit, and then you need to raise a lot of money to hire a lot of good AI people. So they raised a lot of money at this like profit capped thing, which is what they came up with. So
okay. Like, what's the difference now between that and just a regular company?
Nothing. That would have to be by far the most valuable company in the world for it to matter.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. What are your thoughts on that? This is totally changing tech now, but I think I've put a bow on the video clipper stuff. How do you see this playing out? Like, we have this magical machine now that can generate an infinite number of content from someone who has an 80 IQ. It seems like the obvious thing to happen now is that there's going to be this flood of content that isn't actually adding any new information or insights. It's just kind of remixing the existing content. And then it's going to start feeding back on itself, and then that's going to make the content worse. But that seems to be a thing that everyone is very aware of, that they're trying to mitigate against. Google's trying to demote AI-generated content. Bing might be in an interesting strategic position to, like, if they have more of their fingers in this pie of OpenAI, they might be able to leapfrog Google in ability to rank for content that wasn't generated by AI. How do you see this whole landscape playing out?
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of the Wild West again because, I don't know. I think my guess is that search engines will get very good at detecting AI-generated content because, like, to us, it looks very, very human-like. But you can sort of tell that it's not quite right. And if you can sort of tell it's not quite right, a computer definitely can tell. And so at least for now, I think search engines are okay. That's my read on it. But this came like sort of out of nowhere. Like GPT-3 was cool, and then ChatGPT came, and it's not that big of an improvement actually. It's just like a new way to use GPT-3. And it totally changed the game. And so how many more of those improvements are we going to be down the line in 10 years or 5 years or whatever? Yeah, it's totally going to shake up stuff for sure.
Next year, even, I think they're supposed to be coming out with GPT-4.
Yeah,
and it uses something like 100 times more data that it's.
Yeah, I think even more than that. But
the algorithm. Yeah, it's the Wild West. It's a cool time to be alive. I think that's all I have. We could still talk for another 17 minutes, but I don't know.
That's all I got too. And I can feel my brain like shutting down. I'm like, this is the most I've talked since being sick getting sick 2 days ago. So I'm like, yeah.
It's a good thing we've got technologies like GPT then. After our brain shut down, we can still be using this external tool.
Exactly.
I think. Yeah.
But what I saw, I don't even remember who it was. There was a deep fake of Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel, whichever one just had their 20th anniversary, and he had a conversation with himself 20 years ago that was completely deep faked, and it looked amazing.
Wow.
And so we're very close to, like, I mean, we're there. If you have the resources, you can make a video that looks almost exactly real. There were only a few tells that it wasn't him 20 years ago.
Something that I'm currently envious of is if you're a celebrity, you can just tell these tools to interact as if you're Jimmy Kimmel or interact as if you're some celebrity. But I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to tell, like, hey, Christian Jenko, that's me. Here's my very not very well known podcast. Actually, I haven't actually tried that. I wonder if I put in, what would Christian Jenko say? I wonder if I'm well enough known on the internet that some of my content has been scraped and actually has a model.
I don't know about that, but I was going to say you already have plenty of audio content. You don't need, we have hours and hours and hours of this podcast. You could just put that in, and that'll get your voice, your face probably also. We're getting to the point where you can get a person's face from a couple of photos, and so we have hours of video, and so I think you're already there.
I want to be able to talk to ChatGPT though about, like,
I see.
How would I write this thing? Which I've seen some techniques for that you like paste in something that you wrote and then you ask it to describe the style of that content, and then it'll give you some words of like, this is very straightforward and clear and logical or something. And then for when you want it to generate stuff like that, you just say, hey, in a straightforward, clear, logical style, write this thing. But it's cool that for some people, like if you have some amount of notoriety, if ChatGPT has scraped enough information and is able to construct enough about you, that you don't have to say that. You can just say, in the style of Arnold Schwarzenegger, like write a haiku or something.
Yeah, you probably have to be a level of celebrity that we will never reach. Correct.
Probably.
But I like the trick of fitting in your own thing, asking it for the style, and just using that style.
Yeah, I thought that was clever. That was one of the useful things that I got out of the course on using ChatGPT that I took. Mm-hmm. Being able to like summarize after you've gone through a bunch of work of figuring out what the thing is. You can have GPT summarize what you just did, and then use that in future queries. Yeah. Yep. Cool. If you're a listener of this podcast and you would like 50% off of the videoclipper.com, you can use the code CUTITOUT. CUTITOUT, and you can get 50% off.
Are you channeling Full House?
Did they talk about cutting it out in Full House?
Isn't that what she says? I thought so.
Oh, I don't know. I generated that code asking ChatGPT to make a funny code that would be like a clever coupon code for a app that does video clipping. So
yeah, it's a good one.
Okay. It just made a joke that I didn't get. I just thought it was like a funny play on words. Yeah, it is a Full House reference. Yeah, that's right. Cool. All right, that's all I got.
That's all I got too.
Then I'll see you next week after I've launched. Goodbye.